Good morning, my dear students, and welcome back to the class on English literature. I hope you are understanding my explanation. In the previous class, we had stopped when Duke asked a question to Shiloh. And what was that particular question? How can you expect God's mercy when you are not able to show mercy to other person? In today's class, we are going to see the response that was given by Shiloh to the question that was raised by the Duke. I hope you are able to understand. So let's go on with the class. So let's see the response of Shiloh. What judgment shall I dread? Dread means fear. Doing no wrong. When I have done no wrong, what judgment should I fear? Why should I be afraid of any judgment when I have done no wrong? Then he is taking the example of the slaves whom the Christians have bought from the market spending money. So here he is asking them, you have among you many a purchased slave. Purchased slaves means slaves who are bought from the market. Which once you are bought them, how do you treat them? You treat them like your ass, your dogs and mules. You use them in very abject means, in very mean or in a low conditions, and it's lavish parts. Lavish parts means you give them heavy burden. Because the reason why you do all these things, because you bought them, you spend the money and you bought them. Shall I say to you? So this is what he is asking them. You have many slaves among you, or there are slaves with you. You treat them like ass, dogs and mules. You use them in very low conditions and you give them heavy burdens. The reason for doing all these things is you spend the money and you bought them from the market. Shall I say to you now? Let me ask you. You tell some things to them. You make them free first, marry them to your heirs, and you ask your children to marry them. Why sweat they under burdens? Why are they sweating under heavy burdens? Let their beds be made as soft as yours. Let their beds be made, or you provide them the same bed on which you are sleeping. And let their palates mean their appetites, be seasoned, be provided with such viands. Viands means the same food, which means you provide them the same food that you are having. So these are things that are told by Shiloh. You make them free and you allow your children to marry them. Why are they sweating under the heavy burdens? You provide them the same bed on which you are sleeping, and you provide them the same food that you are eating. You will answer, if I am asking all these things, you will answer me that the slaves are belonging to them. The slaves are ours, means the slaves are belonging to them. So do I answer you? So in the same way I am answering you. The pound of flesh which I demand of him, 1 pound of flesh which I am demanding of Antonio is dearly bought. This is mine and I will have it. Shiloh spent 3,000 ducats, so he has got 1 pound of flesh. If you deny me, if you are not providing me justice, fee upon your law, shame upon your law. There is no force in the decrees of it. There is no law in Venice that can deny me justice. I stand for judgment, and so shall I have it. So I am standing here for judgment, or are you going to give me justice, or am I going to have my judgment? Now what happens? The Duke is telling, upon my power I have the authority. I may dismiss this court. Dismiss means adjourn. Adjourn means, I hope you remember this term we have learned in civics. With my power I have the power to adjourn this court. Why? Unless Bellario, a learned doctor whom I have sent for to decide this particular case, come here today. If doctor called Bellario does not arrive today to decide this particular case, I may adjourn this court today. Celerio, my lord, here stays without. Stays without means waiting outside. A messenger with the letters from the doctor new come from Padua. So there is a person waiting outside with the letters from the person called Bellario from Padua. So the Duke is telling, give me the letters. So bring us the letters. You give me the letters and call the messenger. Invite the messenger to come inside. Next, paragraphs we are going to see the bond between Bassanio and Antonio. The first thing Bassanio will tell, I am ready to sacrifice myself for you. You do not even shed a single drop of blood for myself. I will sacrifice my life. And you will see the response of Antonio. These two paragraphs will give you a clear or the strong or deep rooted bond between these two persons. Good cheer, Antonio. Antonio, be happy. What man courage that you have the courage? The Jew shall have my flesh, blood and bones and all. The Jew called Shiloh shall have my flesh, blood and bones. Means before thou shalt lose for me one drop of blood. Even before you shed a single drop of blood for me, I am ready to sacrifice my flesh, blood and bones, everything. And Antonio will describe his condition. I am a tainted wether of the flock meets for death, which means suitable. I am the tainted wether means I am the diseased sheep of the flock that is suitable for death. The weakest kind of fruit drops earliest to the ground, which means I am the weakest fruit that drops to the ground earliest, which means I am ready to die. So I have prepared myself, for I am ready to die. You cannot better be employed Bassanio. So what I am giving a duty, I am giving a task for you. What is that? Than to live still, you have to go on living and write my epitaph. Epitaph means the inscription on the tombstone. Once you are dead, people will write beautiful lines about you. You are a great person. You are the kindest person in the world, etc., etc. So that's what you mean epitaph. So what is the task given to Bassanio? You have to live and you have to write my epitaph. So these two paragraphs will give us a picture of the clear connection or clear bond between Bassanio and Antonio. So I hope you have understood today's class. So understand the reasons that are told by Shiloh. Shiloh demands one pound of flesh. Now we have got the entry of Nerissa. Soon we will have the entry of Portia, and we will see how the trial scene proceeds. I hope you are able to understand. Thank you.